Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, thank you for listening to this show on a hot Saturday afternoon. I hope you had a great holiday period. This show is pre-recorded. I'm recording it before the holiday. And I'll just be real frank with you. I always do a whole lot of show prep because I want to be able to share with you the latest information related to the things that this show is all about. By the way, if you don't know, this show is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. We got that name way back in 2008 because at that point, more than 1 million kids around the world were being trafficked. Today, that number is very small compared to the reality of what's happening in our world. But we've spent the last 14, 15 years combating sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and online social media exploitation. And I meet many of you when I go out in public, and you tell me that you join with us, you support us in prayer. Some of you are kind enough to send us money to help subsidize our activities. And I'll tell you, we certainly agree and appreciate that you're willing to do that. This work is tough work. And after you hear this show today, you're going to see that it's getting a lot tougher. So I had all the show prep of what I was going to talk about, but in the last hour and a half, things have changed. And I want to just kind of hunt, if you will, kind of pivot to be able to address and give you some of my thoughts and feelings about what is happening. What I'm going to talk about is what is happening at Sacramento and some of the bills that are being presented, some that have already been passed, some that have been passed but modified so that they're like milquetoast and completely don't do anything to help the victim, and some that are waiting to be passed. Now, I don't know about you, but I try to stay away from legislation. Politics is not me. And I try not to be political because this organization's all about keeping kids safe from predators and doing what we can for 1 million kids, missing kids. And if you follow us, and I hope you will, and that's millionkids.org, you will see that we're trying to locate several local teenagers that have ran away for this reason or that reason, or have gotten themselves in a sex trafficking environment, or maybe they've sent some nudes online and they're being blackmailed. And those are the kinds of day-to-day things we really do. Well, about 2 months ago, our chief of police here in Riverside is a good friend of mine and someone I greatly admire, Chief Larry Gonzalez. And I will just step aside a minute and say that I believe you have a tremendous, fine group of law enforcement people throughout the entire county of Riverside. You know, I work with Sheriff Chad Bianco. Maybe you like his style, maybe you don't, but that man is committed to solving crime and keeping people safe. And I'm proud as punch to be associated with them. Mike Hestron, our district attorney, just an amazing individual. I've known him since the very first day he took office. And just someone who spends his days and nights trying to find ways to especially go after child predators and anybody that's going to hurt a child or hurt a family. And, not every county in the state of California has those fine representatives. By the way, I work out of and support the San Bernardino County Human Trafficking Task Force also. And I do that voluntarily because I've known them. And quite frankly, if you're going to be trafficked, probably a gang or a pimp is involved. And they don't care which side of the 10 freeway they're working. So they work both counties. And I'm very impressed with both the district attorney and the sheriff over there. Where I'm going with this is that there's been some amazing changes in our legislation as we speak. In fact, while I'm on the air today, I'm thoroughly expecting a release about a bill that we have been watching that is SB 1414, and I'll tell you about that. But why is this so important? Well, first of all, I just hate politics, okay? It's a blood sport. And I think very few times do we win. But when you get involved with keeping kids safe from predators, you have to get involved in how you vote. And this isn't a show to tell you to vote one way or the other. But I want to tell you, I really had my eyes open back to my story with Chief Gonzalez. He said, there's a piece of legislation that would maybe give law enforcement another tool to intervene if you're having someone that's soliciting for street prostitution. And he said, I can't go. Would you go? And I did. And, I have followed legislation for the last 10 years. I've written a lot of letters of support. I'm a great big fan of Shannon Grove out of Fresno area, Bakersfield area, just Bakersfield, I think she is. Anyway, amazing people that are trying to do right by our county and our citizens. In this case, he asked me to go up and support this bill. Well, some of you have heard me because I get so frustrated. A year and a half ago, our state passed a bill that was called SB 357, and that bill literally rewrote the definition of luring for solicitation of street prostitution. And what it said, by the way, it didn't define if you're soliciting to buy or sell. I find that interesting. Anyway, what they did is say that law enforcement can no longer intervene if you're luring to solicit for street prostitution. And I'm saying to myself, how on earth can a bill like that get passed in any state? Okay. But it was an amazing thing as I watched this bill over the time. It passed, and it passed with almost all Democrat support and very little Republican support, or almost none. And so that really tells you that it matters who you vote for if those are your values. Now, what has happened since that bill has gone through is our lives have changed dramatically. Suddenly we have girls being brought in from all over the world to be sold for sex in California. And if they're an adult, there isn't a whole heck of a lot you can do about it because of the fact that that law went through and people allowed it to pass. Now, here in the Inland Empire, and our law enforcement keeps a good eye on everything, and we're really aware of what is happening, and we try to go after the root cause, which really is gangs and cartels and that kind of thing. But in many of your cities now, you're seeing whole lines of women publicly standing out in front of bases, like your Navy bases and air bases, and even up in the central California in the Oakland area, out in front of schools, had to shut down 2 Catholic schools because the kids could not get through the line of women that were standing there. Some are brought in from China and they're put in these massage parlors, or they're brought in from Vietnam or, Eastern Europe and like that. Others are brought in from out of state, Las Vegas and Phoenix and other areas. So these bills matter because it changes the safety and security of our communities, let alone the fact that it makes it so that law enforcement really can't get out there and help someone if they want to get out of the life. Well, these bills continue on, and we're watching this SB 1414. So Shannon Grove is behind this, and it basically would say, and let me just kind of give you a little bit of wording. We might hear about it before I'm off the air even, but this bill basically was gutted by the Democrat Party about a month and a half ago when it was originally presented. So what happened is it started out as a bipartisan measure, and the wording on it is the crime of purchasing a child of any age or sex in the state of California should be a prison felony. So what the vote is all about is that if you purchase sex from an underage person, male or female, and they're underage, that it should be a felony. It was not prior to this bill. And so you would think this would be a slam dunk. How bad can that be? I mean, that we put our kids out there and put them for sale. Well, I can't remember which committee it was, forced committee amendments on there. So what happened is when it went to, we must restore the bill in the Assembly. So this would have been in the House. They rewrote the bill to say that it's okay as long as they're over the age of 15. So they changed and amended this bill to say soliciting and buying children 15 and under only can be changed, okay, or charged as a felony. Well, what about the kids that are 16 and 17? That they're just kind of out there, and the Democrats are saying, no, that's ridiculous. And so this gives you an idea of how this works on Capitol Hill. They rewrote the bill, and too bad if your kid is 16 or 17 and soliciting sex. It's break time. This is Opal Singleton. Be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, let me tell you about my favorite restaurant in Riverside, Monarch Asian Bistro. The atmosphere and decor are simply stunning. The service is great too. It's a wonderful environment for a romantic dinner or a family get-together. It's not just another Chinese restaurant. The Monarch Asian Bistro is upscale, and it serves Thai food as well as unique Asian-inspired dishes that are just fabulous. My favorite is the pad see ew beef. My husband likes the orange chicken, and the Chinese chicken salad is always great. Our friends sometimes order the Emperor's Choice or Monarch steak. It is my favorite go-to place. Go ahead and give it a try. It's Monarch Bistro in Riverside, Canyon Crest Town Center next to Ralph's. They are open for lunch and dinner every day but Tuesday. Go ahead, give it a try. You're going to love it.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the four most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about what is going on in our Capitol Hill that is affecting families and our children, and is just beyond the pale. So I want to get back to my story here. When Chief Gonzalez asked me to go testify, I sat here on many a Zoom call and I watched them in action, and I thought, this ought to be interesting. I'll go. And I didn't have much hope for the bill, and I was right. It didn't have much hope. But it was a fascinating process that I went through, and I really want to share it with you because I want you to understand just how important people like Senator Shannon Grove and also Assemblyman Essayli, I believe his name is. Hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong. He is the assemblyman out of the 63rd District, Canyon Lake, Corona, East Vale, Lake Elsinore, Menifee, Norco, Riverside, Temescal Canyon, and Woodcrest. I'm just amazed at their stamina, their commitment to doing right, their ability to take abuse up there. I wouldn't last 15 seconds up there. So let me tell you about it, what happens. So we go up to testify before the Public Safety Committee, okay? Now, I've watched it before, but it's different than you might think. You're in a room, high ceilings, Capitol Hill, 300 people, lots of press, all of that kind of thing. And there are, that day, 18 or maybe 19 bills that day. We were number 17, so we got to watch it all in action. And you could not have ever prepared me for what I was about to see, even though I've watched it on TV. And it was amazing to me because the first 17 bills were presented, the first 16 were presented. I was 17. Each bill gets 2 people to testify for it and 2 people to testify against it. Each of those people get 2 minutes. That's right, 120 seconds. So people are flying in from all over California to testify, and 2 minutes, 2 people, 2 minutes each for, and 2 people, 2 minutes against. And it was amazing. I mean, you know, it's when you're allowed 2 minutes, you really very quickly learn to say what was important. And so I watched this, and there were all kinds of bills that were being presented. Some were gun related, some of them were, you know, related to schools or school food, that kind of thing. All kinds of bills were presented. But what was interesting is there were 4 Democrats and 1 Republican. The Republican in this case is Kelly Sayarto. And if you're from his area, give him a big hug. I do not know how he does this kind of thing the same way as Bill Essayli. And so what happens here is, I mean, all kinds of bills were presented, some that the committee was for and some that were against. But whenever a bill came up that the committee was against, 3 of the 4 Democrats would get up and leave the room. I am not making this up. Now, the head of the committee stayed on there, although she was laughing and talking to her friends and appeared to be playing something on her game, on her phone, maybe just returning emails. I don't know. But they fly in and they get 2 minutes and nobody stays to listen. They practice, they paid the money, they get there, and if they don't agree with you, they just leave their aides and go out back. And then apparently when they're through, the aides buzz them and they come back in. And I saw this time and time and time again. And regardless of what the bill was about. Now, in my case, it turned out they all came and listened. They didn't agree with me. They basically said the mayor of a very large town south of us, for what it's worth, wasn't being honest. I'm on the side of the mayor. But it is an interesting process to see how they immediately will not even consider any alternative. The whole thing is set up as a shoe-in. And, you know, millions of dollars are being spent to present an alternative approach. And I would think that the least they could do is stay and listen. And but it didn't work out that way. In the end, some bills passed, some didn't. Mine didn't. But it was a fascinating thing. When our senator, which in this case was Senator Kelly Sayarto, got up, they basically just dismissed him and would not even allow him to get a motion going on his bill. So anybody that you send to Capitol Hill that is in opposition of their party is going to pay a very heavy price. I say that because today it was announced that SB 1955 passed. And this is why I decided to change all the work that I'd done on my show prep to share this with you. Now, I would encourage you, I myself, I have very busy life like you do. I do a lot of research, a lot of public speaking. I help a lot of people that get in trouble and that kind of thing. But I took time out today to watch this vote. The one is SB 1955. Well, I have to tell you, as a citizen, even as an advocate, I had not paid a lot of attention to this bill. There's just so many bills out there, you feel like you can't keep up with it, okay? And but this bill I started to look at. Now, first of all, let me share with you what got my attention was the way that Assemblyman Bill Essayli was treated. I would encourage you to go on YouTube and put in his name. Now, his name is not easy to spell, and I'm probably butchering it when I say it, but he is a man that I have come to admire in the last 2 hours, just watching what he has done for Riverside County. And it is simply amazing to me. Go to YouTube and put in his name. It's Bill, B-I-L-L, last name Essayli, E-S-S, like Sam, E-S-S-A-Y-L-I. Now, I had heard of him, and I had heard a lot of good of him. But I'm going to tell you today, this guy deserves a Nobel Peace Prize from California because of the way he has been treated on Capitol Hill, because the other side, the Democrats, did not appreciate his opinions and what he was saying. This guy is tough as nails. I could never do what he did, and I am extremely proud of him, and he has my support. And I'm not talking financial, I'm just saying my prayers and admiration in this guy. I looked him up because I didn't know much about him. Says he's an American lawyer and politician and serving in the California State Assembly. He is the first Muslim elected to the California State Assembly. A Republican, he represents California's 63rd District. He's the first member of his family to graduate from college. He received his undergraduate from the Kellogg Honors College of California at Cal Poly. He received his Juris Doctorate degree from Chapman University. He has served as an intern in the White House counsel's office. That must have given him what he needed to do what he was doing today. He joined the Riverside County District Attorney's Office as a prosecutor, then became an assistant U.S. attorney for the Central District of California. Among the cases he worked was the 2015 terrorist attack in San Bernardino. And then in 2018, he ran for California State Assembly. He beat out incumbent Democrat Sabrina Cervantes. He lost the election. He came back in 2022, ran for state assembly, defeating Eastvale Mayor Clint Lorrimore in the primary and businesswoman Fazia Rizvi in the general election. So that's what we know about him. But I'm going to encourage you to go on YouTube and just put in his name and watch him in action, because you start to get the idea of the price this man is paying so we can keep our kids safe from predators. So what is Bill SB 1955? Well, he was very much against it, and they basically stripped him of every opportunity at Capitol Hill. They took him off all of his committees. They took everything away from him because he would not support their bill. This man is paying one heck of a price, and I'm proud as punch of this guy. He is just simply amazing. Now, what is AB 1955? The title of it is Support Academic Futures and Educators for Today's Youth Act. That makes you want to gag. Every time I see California Safer Streets Act, I realize how false that is. That is the bill that basically legalized street prostitution in California. And so AB 1955 is the bill that basically says that the parents will not be notified if a teacher learns that your child wants to do a sex change or has a different choice of gender or sexuality than you might want, that they are not going to notify the parent. And Bill Essayli fought against it, and I'm proud of him. I'll be right back. It is break time.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We are talking about Capitol Hill up in Sacramento and the craziest bills that they are putting through, and then watching with my own eyes how they turn against any Republican that tries to go up against their bill. I am talking about Bill Essayli, and I don't know him. He doesn't know I'm doing this. I've never met him in person, but I feel like I know him because I've been watching him on YouTube today. And I am fired up to help you understand the fight that we have on our hands right here in the state of California. And to have someone of his caliber stand there, he stood against this bill and they literally stripped him of every committee today. And and he stood tall. I was proud of him. I watched that thing and go, oh my gosh, I don't know that I'm that big a person that I could do that. But to have him there and do that, and I looked him up in case you want to contact him. His district office is out of Corona, phone number 951-277-3639. And look him up and send him a thank you if you are a person that cares about kids. So let me get back to what AB 1955 is, because I never would have believed it if I had not researched it. So forgive me if I sound like I'm reading. I am. So this bill, here we go. California lawmakers send student gender notification bill to Newsom after explosive assembly debate. You got that right. I watched it. It was explosive. So it says a chaotic debate. There wasn't really a lot of debate because they stripped all the opposition from any chance to say. But as long as he could have the pulpit, or whatever you call that, the podium, Mr. Bill Essayli stood right there and he fought back. After a chaotic debate on the assembly floor filled with shouting and tears, and they're not kidding about that, California lawmakers on Thursday sent Gavin Newsom a bill that would ban schools from requiring teachers to notify parents about changes to a student's gender identity. So that bill passed today. 61-16 came after a lengthy and emotional back and forth between Democrats who said the bill is necessary to protect LGBTQ plus youth, and Republicans who said it would infringe on the student-parent relationship. So basically what it's saying, it's in response to a wave of conservative-backed school board policies that have sought to require that they notify parents if their child changes their names or their pronouns, or if the students request to use facilities or participate in programs that don't match the gender on official records. They said that in this case, this bill was originally written by Chris Ward out of San Diego, a Democrat, to shield teachers from retaliation for supporting transgender student rights and prohibit school policies that required forced disclosure of youth gender decisions to the families. Do you get what is happening here? They are saying the parents have no right to know if their child wants to change genders, wants to change bathrooms, wants to change any kind of their identity, or wants to do activities related to a gender choice. And so they're basically saying teachers are not obligated. In fact, they need to be shielded from feeling obligated, and the parents don't have a right to know. Let me give it to you from a different perspective because I'm reading these. I pulled out a whole bunch of them. This one here, as it was going through, this is the wording that they were putting out. The bill was introduced here. It would make California the first state to ban schools from requiring teachers to notify parents about their child's gender identity. 6 states have passed legislation requiring schools to do so, and 5 others have promoted the practice. So everybody else in the United States is going just the opposite, that it's good to notify a parent. However, in California, it's no longer required. Now, they give a little history I thought was important here. In California, several school boards have passed policies contending that the parents have a right to know if their child is identifying as a transgender. The state and advocates for LGBTQ students say the policies are discriminatory and violate civil rights and privacy laws protecting transgender students. They say the policies put students at risk since not all families are supportive. Okay, it goes even farther. I want you to hear this. So this is where it was before all this. It said the California Attorney General Rob Bonta filed a lawsuit against Chino Valley Unified last year, alleging that its policy was discriminatory, meaning the policy that the parent should be notified was discriminatory and violated civil rights and privacy laws. A San Bernardino County Superior Court judge ruled in favor of the state, which in turn prompted Chino Valley to revise its policies. When a teachers union in Temecula Valley filed a lawsuit against a similar policy in the district, a Riverside County Superior Court allowed the policy to stand for now. So all of that now is going forward. So I watched as Bill Essayli, I want to make sure I got his name right, stood for you and I and parents everywhere. And he is paying one heck of a price today for doing that. If you're around, look him up, write to him, tell him you're proud of him, support him, even though it cost him just about everything of his career. AB 1955, Support Academic Futures and Educator for Today's Youth Act, okay? It is, as Bill Essayli said, they're playing politics with this kind of thing that is taking place here. And so it's just simply amazing to me that this even happened. It says the bill would prohibit school districts, county offices of education, charter schools, and the state special schools, and a member of governing board or body of those educational entities from enforcing or enacting any policy or administrative regulation, okay, that would require an employee or a contractor to disclose any information related to pupils' sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression to any other person without the pupil's consent unless otherwise required by law. It prohibits employees or contractors of those educational entities from being required to disclose unless otherwise required by law. So what they're saying is that your child, very young child, can have some thoughts about other sexuality, other genders, maybe want to do a sex change operation, or say, I no longer identify as a boy or a girl, this is how I identify, and the parent will not be notified, and nobody pays the price for that. I was very, very proud of Bill Essayli. I hope you'll go on YouTube today and put in his name and start to get acquainted with him. You know, this was David and Goliath. And, in the end, he's going to pay one very heavy price. But you don't get people that stand up against this kind of thing very often. And I think we've got to do it. Keeping our kids safe from predators involves a lot of things. It really does. Kids who go online and they send their naked photos and they get blackmailed and, they get bullied. And even if they have a different sexuality choice, they get bullied. And we need to be able to have that relationship with our child. If we can't talk to our children about sexuality, and we have to turn that over to a village of other people who may not share our values, our nation has come to a very scary place. So this has been a hard discussion to have, but I think it's an important discussion. I hate legislation. I hate all that sort of thing. You know, I'm more of a hands-on, practical kind of person that wants to save the world. And you get up there with all that politics and mud throwing and like that, then it's just not me. But it's time to come out of that mold, all of us. Parents and grandparents, it is time to have those honest conversations with our kids. You know, people ask me a lot, how do you stand in this world of technology and all the changes that are taking place? And especially when you see where our country is headed and like that. I honestly believe it comes back to knowing who you are and knowing your values. You know, I often say it's really important for families to have straightforward, honest conversation about what you stand for. Sit down and write them out, each of you. You know, bond together in what you believe so that you can know that you and your child have an open, honest conversation about whatever it takes to keep them safe from predators. This is Opal Singleton. It's coming up break time, so we'll see you in a minute. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. I so much appreciate you listening to the show and being a person that really cares about these kinds of matters. You know, I have chosen this life. I've done it for many, many years. I started in my retirement. I keep thinking, give it up. But, the world, I don't know about you, but watching all that is happening in the world is just really what drives me forward every day. And that is that if there's ever a time in our life that we need to return to basics with our kids and our lives, it is right now. Because what we're seeing, is you can't believe your own eyes. We went through a week last week where we watched a debate. And it doesn't matter which one you're for. I'm not here to tell you how to vote. But when you watch our entire nation on display to the entire world with all of our enemies watching that interaction, and then having all the news people come on afterwards and say, what you saw, you didn't see. And it really wasn't like that. And you are being difficult and, like that. I'm telling you, we need to bring up our children like someone like this Bill Essayli, someone who knows who he is and what he stands for. And he may pay a heck of a price, but we are entering a world where we will constantly be told that what we're seeing didn't really happen. I think this is so important because, as you know, I combat things like sextortion and social media exploitation. And we are entering a world of artificial intelligence where every one of us could be victimized. Artificial intelligence gives you an ability to go in and modify how people look, change their photo. Any photo that is online can be accessed. Same way with your voice, it can be changed. And every one of us over the next 5 years will become a victim of blackmail or sextortion because our photos are out there and can be easily documented. And so and the same is true of the news. I was thinking about that as I watched the aftermath of the debate and how everybody rewrites the news so that it redefines what really happened. And you listen to some of those summaries, and I say to myself, they must have been watching a different channel than I was, because what I saw has nothing to do with what they're saying that I saw. And that often drives me nuts, by the way, when somebody gets up and talks and somebody else gets up and tells me what they said, like I'm not able to figure that out myself. But what they're really telling you is what they want you to think they said. Well, here's the danger with that for our kids. Our kids are just getting started. If you have somebody who's 12, 13, 14, 15, look at how much this has changed in the last 2 years. And imagine where it's going to be in the next 2 years or 4 years or by the time your child is an adult. And I think one of the most important things we can teach our children is values and cognitive thinking. Being able to sort through what is their motive? Why are they saying? They're showing something that said that I saw this when in fact I saw something different. It was a fascinating thing to me today to watch that body of quote-unquote professionals on Capitol Hill totally strip this Assemblyman Essayli of everything because he stood for what he believed. They basically are saying you are not able to be an assemblyman because we will not give you the ability to do anything up here after you voted against us and make these statements. So the price is going to be high, but I think we have to have those conversations. I think that there's probably at this point in time, parenting and grandparenting is the most important thing you can do with your children. Set them down and let them know what your family believes in. Family values sounds cute, but it needs to be taken really seriously. This is not a phrase or a motto or something like that. It is a time of our life to figure out who we are and what we stand for. And our kids need to understand that if they stand for what's right, they may pay a price. And the price is getting higher and higher from what I can see. I am very disappointed in these bills. Very disappointed. Is it disappointed that our nation, our state would rewrite a bill that says it's okay to sell a 16-year-old for sex? Not a 15-year-old, that's a little young, but it's okay to sell a 16 or 17-year-old for sex. That should not be a felony. Really? At what point is a 16 or 17-year-old kid valuable? And, at what point do they have rights in our society? And to be able to say that parents should not be involved in a child's sexual choice, especially a younger child's sexual choice, is really, really amazing. Not even be involved. They can't be advised. They can't know anything about it. This is getting to be more and more a government state. It became that when we became a sanctuary city, because that decision right there, sanctuary state, that decision right there says we don't have to follow federal laws. But more and more, they're going through the laws and literally taking things away. I think that it's really, really important to stop and pay attention. Again, this Bill Essayli, I have never talked to him. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know I'm saying this today. But I am so proud of you, sir, wherever you're at. I am glad you're apparently in Corona. I'm going to give out his office again so that some of you might want to, I'm going to look it up here, bear with me a minute, might want to contact him and say thank you. Thank you for standing up for what we do and what we believe and keeping the family value back together. His office is on Temescal Canyon in Corona. Phone number 951-277-3639. I don't know how you contact him by email. I'm just taking this off of his website. His name is Essayli, Essayli. The man is my hero, and I didn't really know him 2.5 hours ago. I guess you just caught me right after I saw that, but I watched that and I said to myself, I have not seen a man stand for values like that in a very long time. With all the infighting going on and all the misinformation and disinformation and making up information and all your artificial intelligence is changing the meaning of things, so that it doesn't sound so bad. This is what really gets to me, is the way these bills are named deceptively. California's Safer Streets Act says it is okay for people to loiter, to solicit for street prostitution. How does that make a street safer? And how does that protect a woman? All those women being brought in from China and from Las Vegas and Phoenix, going up and down the street, they don't want to be there, and they're not keeping the money that they make. And yet that is called the California Safer Streets Act. I say we've got to stop and pay attention and say enough is enough. I am not a person that wants to get involved in what you vote for one way or the other, but I am a person that believes that children ought to be kept safe, and the family values and the family rights ought to be first. And I'm very proud of Kelly Ciarto and Bill Essayli, whoever they are. I hope to get to meet them someday. But I am very proud of what they have done in the last month to protect our families. It's costing them a lot. They're paying one big price. But it also tells you how bad the competition is and how willing, how long the opposition is willing to do, how far they're willing to go to be able to take over the control of your family and managing the raising of your children. This is just unbelievable to me that we have arrived at this place in history and people on leadership think that's okay. It is a far cry from what I believe in as family values. My name is Opal Singleton. This organization is Million Kids. We are dedicated to keeping our kids safe from predators. We normally combat sextortion. We intervene if a parent has a kid that's being blackmailed. We educate about sex trafficking. We support the Human Trafficking Task Force and have for 14 years as their training and outreach coordinator. We're deeply involved in it. but mostly we are here because we care about families and family values. And I believe that's the keystone, the center stone, the key point in being able to raise your kids in a way that they will really be able to perceive right from wrong, even when somebody's telling them it's completely opposite. This is Opal Singleton. The organization is Million Kids. You can go to millionkids.org and support our work. See you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.